Hello everyone. Today's my topic of presentation is Blue Humanities in Gun Island, a study of water, migration and climate change. These are my personal details and let us start by having an introduction to what is Blue Humanities. Basically Blue Humanities is a field of one of the field of eco-criticism, and this shift focused from the land-based uh, arguments to the oceanic arguments. Nowadays, as earth is covered 90% of the water, and we have a lots of climate change issue regarding the global warming, and that affected the sea area and at the end the human at the end. So this is how the emergence of Blue Humanities happened, and due to lots of oceanic crisis, this field has been developed, and literature, philosophy and history started writing works based upon the Blue Humanities to talk about how the climate change is affecting all the more earth. Talking about Amitav Ghosh, then he exemplifies the Blue Humanities framework with his work Gun Island. And here in the work, water is an active force, not in passive, who is shaping the narrative. And this study will examine how Gun Island will critique anthropocentrism and emphasizing the key scholars in Blue Humanities are first and foremost Stu Mans, and he examined the chaotic and unpredictable nature of water in his pioneer work Shipwrecked Modernity. And this is the work who pioneered the term Blue Humanities as well. So from this, the talk based on Blue Humanities started. Then comes the Stacy Alamio, and she introduced the transcorporality, where she talked about how there is an corresponding connection between human and non-human living. So basically, three of them are activists and talking about nature. Third is Estrida Niemenis, and she developed the idea of hydrofeminism. So this term is basically connected with how human bodies and water is connected. She gave the idea that human body has the water, 90% of the water, and that water connects the outer water of the earth to the humans. And that's how, in her pioneer work, Bodies of Water, she developed the idea of a hydrofeminism. So my research question and hypothesis for this is how does Gun Island engage with Blue Humanities framework to critique climate change, migration, and human water interconnectedness? And the hypothesis is Blue Humanities challenge the anthropocentric narratives and portrays water as an active agent. And this novel is linking that very idea of that. This is the literature review in tabular format in order to prepare this topic. And these are the sources which I have referred to prepare this presentation in tabular format. So let us start by understanding how the water is an active agent in this work. As we have seen that Gun Island is portraying the ongoing issue of climate change, of raising sea level, storms, floods, and cyclones. And that's what is making this book all the more connected with the Blue Humanities. As in his work, Amitav Ghosh, Great Derangement, talked about how literature can help to talk about climate change. And this work is something that is exemplifying that idea. So, Cyclone Elia in the novel is devastated the Sundarban. And here we can connect the idea of Rob Nixon's slow violence. In this idea, Nixon talked about how these slowly and steadily climate is affecting the coastal area of the earth, and how the water and all the more climate changes is affecting the earth. So this low violence is nowadays we can find out in the contemporary time as well, that we have now all the more cyclones around us. And cyclone Elia, particularly narrated by Nilima Bose in the narrative, is talking about the same issue. The line from the novel, I quote, "The storm has erased the boundary between land and water," unquote. So this is capturing the essence of how the Blue Humanities is affecting. Here, water in the novel is a site of destruction and ecosystem. We have the example from the novel is of a dead zone, which is caused by the industrial development is happening, and the dolphin beaching incident, and the Rani's alarming coming of the incident. So that all incidents are connected with how the water is being an active agent in shaping the narratives of the. And Khan, in his article, say that I quote: "The Sundarban section of the Gun Island offered a microcosm view of a global South, victim of historical and ongoing injustice, further victimized by climate change," unquote. So global South, particularly having a vast area of water and connected with that, and that's why they are facing more all the more issues regarding the climate change. And in the novel, the Ghosh is trying to depict this as well. Talking about the Anthropocene and eco-precarity, the framework is developed by Dipesh Chakraborty and Pramod Nair. And this highlights the how in this age humans are at the center, human-centric view we have, and the critique of that. And similarly, this framework is also applied in the Amitav Ghosh Gun Island as well, that humans are decentered and the animals and the rather natural world is at the center. So there is an ethnographic surrealism. So this means that there is a combination of folklore, myth, and that is connecting the narrative. We have the real myth of it as a Bandhi Sodagar. And he connected that folklore and the myth of Mansa Devi and combined this to talk about how to critique the anthroposonic point of view. Uh, Another thing is planetary consciousness. So, by connecting disparate locals like Sundarban, Los Angeles, and Venice, Ghosh evokes the global awareness of anthroposonic's interconnected crisis. So, not just only using one place or to talk about that, he connected multiple places to showcase that the climate change is a global issue. Migration and the fluidity of water. So this is what the novel is tied to the water's instability, and the main reason, particularly in the novel, is the migration through which the migration is happening is the water. Migration in the novel is both literal, like climate refugee. We have the example of Rafi and Tipu and Kabir and Bilal. Four of the characters are migrated due to the water issues, and metaphorically like fluid identity. So they have the identity crisis as well due to this migration. So here the ocean is both barrier and path, reinforcing De Logre's theory of transoceanic identity. So in this transoceanic identity, she talked about how this identity is made by migration, like people having an identity crisis because they are now a hybrid and not acceptable at any of the place. And that time, how the identity is made. Tipu and Rafi's journey is from Bangladesh to Europe. This symbolizes even the crisis of how the Tipu and Kabir and Bilal, particularly the incident of Kabir and Bilal, where one of the friend is lost his life due to this migration. So that is also affected by water. Um, Gilson in his article said, I quote, Ghosh overplays planet onto place and consciously conceals material space, showing how the climate crisis has pervaded every place on Earth, global South and global North, unquote. So Ghosh is trying to merge everything. And the merchant's mythic journey to Venice is also reflecting this. Contemporary example from this is we are having one of the article by Something Weird is Happening by Rishika Aradhya, in which she talked about that how in the Nepal there is a transformation of the 1.3 billion of population due to this migration crisis. And even between the 1950s to 2016, around the Bangladesh area, there is an erosion of more than 235 square kilometers place, coastal areas. So this is also reflecting how the migration is very much contemporary. Mythology, memory, and sacred waters. As we all have already introduction to this, so snake goddess Mansa in this, and even the Madonna, both the are connecting force to talk about how these water is there at the center. Mansa links the water with spiritual and ecological precarity, as we talked about hydrofeminism. So, novel juxtaposes Venice and Sundarban, showing how water erase history and reshape identities. Chatterjee in his article says, uh, I quote, myth have ability to reach out to future. They are portals to belief, not bound by institutionalized religion, unquote. So, by using religion, Ghosh is trying to talk about the water crisis in that, and even this idea of coexistence of all creatures on the earth. So, my conclusion for this presentation is Gun Island illustrate transoceanic connection, mirroring historical and contemporary displacement. Myth and ecology intertwines, showing water as a bearer of memory and change. And the novel critiques anthroposonic include eco-precarity, reinforcing blue humanities, discourse with aquatic ecologies, and particularly water in this Gun Island is a force of both destruction and transformation, aligning with blue humanities. And as climate change accelerates, Gun Island serves as a literal intervention, compelling us to reimagine environmental justice. Before I show my works cited, I would like to add my learning outcome, which I haven't added in the slides. So my learning, particularly my motive behind preparing this presentation, was I wasn't able to give the right answer in this net examination about who coined the term blue humanities, and that's why I focused on this topic so that I can cover that. And by just going through this all the presentation, I learned how water's role is there and being aware about that. These are the works cited, and thank you. If you have any question, feel free to ask.
So, Dhatri, my question is that how does Gun Island use water's dual role as a conduit and barrier to challenge human-centered narratives of migration history and ecological crisis?
Okay, so let me start from Tipu and Rafi's example. So here, Tipu and Rafi migrated due to this water crisis is happening, and particularly they are not having a proper place to live, and that's why they transferred from one place to another. So the one place like water is the medium through which they transported to the Italy. So as in that way, water is a place through which it in positive way, whereas they have to displace their self from their native land. That is the destructive part of the water. Of talking about the migration, talking about history, coastal area is erased. And here, from the example of Bangladesh, like Bangladesh, no, Amitav Ghosh tried to portray the harsh reality of Bangladesh, how numbers of people have to leave the Bangladesh, and they migrated quite like not ethically but unethically or illegally migrated to the other places. So this is also something related to history, that reality, and that was captured by Amitav Ghosh in the novel. And talking about ecological crisis, so like we have the dead zone in the novel, Rani's example is there, even Tipu having a kind of omen kind of things when something is happening. So these all the things, even the snake goddess, the myths of Mansa Devi and myth of Madonna, where she's talking about the plague and all the things and how the Madonna helped. So all these are helping to talk about the novel. So I hope that answered your question.
So Dhatri Ghosh addresses the issues of climate change in his novel. Based on your study on the novel and other sources, could you elaborate on possible solution to this problem?
Yes, in the work Great Derangement, Ghosh talked about how literature can help to address the issue of climate change. And with the example of Gun Island, he did the same. So, based on my reading of that when we want to say something about climate change, because the people believe more in religion rather than talking about science. So religion, by using like Ghosh masterfully used myths to convey his message. So in that way we can convey, as even Jayashri mentioned about this uh, local myths we have. So we can incorporate local myths, we can incorporate local myths to convey the idea that we have to preserve nature. And in that way the uneducated mass can also follow the path which was shown by religion. So this one solution we can do to address the climate change, and the possible solution for that, that we incorporate religion and ask religious leader to take advantage of that and making convince people about the crisis. Yes, thank you.